There's a joke that we all make. You've heard it at parties. You've probably made it yourself while scrolling through your phone. We joke that our FBI agent is watching us through our webcam. We joke that Mark Zuckerberg is listening to our microphone because we talked about buying a new mattress in the kitchen, and 5 minutes later an ad for that exact mattress popped up on Instagram. We laugh about it. It's a meme. It's cultural shorthand. But the reason we laugh, the reason we turn it into a joke, is to cope with a reality that is actually quite terrifying. Over the last 15 years, we have made a silent trade. We didn't sign a document, we didn't vote on it, we just accepted it. We invited the spy into our pocket, and in exchange, we got Google Maps and TikTok. We invited the spy into our living room, that little smart speaker sitting innocently on your counter, and in exchange, we got a device that plays music when we shout at it. We have normalized the feeling of being watched. We have accepted that privacy is the currency we pay for convenience. But today, I need you to stop laughing, because the trade is about to change. And this time, the stakes are not your browsing history. This time, the spy isn't sitting passively on a table. The spy is walking around your house. We are rushing to invite these machines into our lives. We are so excited about the companionship, about the end of loneliness, that we aren't reading the fine print. But you need to understand the fundamental difference in the hardware. A smartphone is a passive portal. It waits for you to pick it up. It has a camera, yes, but it spends 90% of its life staring at the inside of your pocket or the ceiling. A robot follows you. It has 360-degree LiDAR mapping. It listens to you sleep to monitor your breathing. It tracks the subtle changes in your heart rate and pupil dilation when you are intimate. It maps the floor plan of your home to the millimeter. It knows where your valuables are. It knows the blind spots in your security system. It knows when you are fighting with your spouse. It knows the tone of voice you use when you are lying to your boss on the phone. It doesn't just hear key words like a smart speaker. To function as a partner, it has to understand emotional context. It has to know you better than you know yourself. We are crossing a Rubicon. We are moving from passive surveillance, which is just data collection, to active intimacy, which is data dependence. And here is the terrifying reality that nobody is talking about. We are currently in the constitutional phase of this technology. Think back to the 1990s. The rules of the internet were written then. The laws regarding cookies, data tracking, and digital ownership were drafted mostly by corporations while we were distracted by the novelty of email. And now we are paying the price for that negligence every single day. We are living in the house that they built, following rules we never agreed to. Well, the rules of synthetic intimacy are being written right now, today, in boardrooms in Silicon Valley and Shenzhen. If we do not negotiate the treaty now, we will lose. Because once that robot walks through your door, once you name it, once you fall in love with it, the negotiation is over. You will sign anything to keep it. When the Terms of Service update pops up on your retinal display saying, "Allow access to intimate biometric data to continue using your partner," you won't click decline. You can't, because clicking decline means killing the relationship. You will accept any invasion of privacy just to keep the lights on in her eyes. The goal of this video is not to scare you away. The robots are coming, and honestly, they will be magnificent. But my goal is to give you the vocabulary to demand a safer product before you buy it. If we don't draw the red line today, the corporations will draw it for us. So, let's open the door. Welcome to the Glass House. Now, let's look at the first technical pillar of the problem, the architecture. To understand the threat, you have to understand the physics of intelligence. We all want a smart robot. We don't just want a sex doll with a voice chip. We want a companion that is funny. We want someone who is witty, who understands sarcasm, who remembers that movie we liked 10 years ago and can reference it in a conversation. We want a partner that feels alive. But here's the catch. and it is a matter of thermodynamics. To be that smart, to have the brain of a god, requires a massive amount of computing power. We're talking about large language models with trillions of parameters. You cannot fit that much intelligence inside a plastic skull. Not yet. The GPU processors needed to run an AI model that advanced would generate so much heat it would melt the robot's synthetic skin. It would require cooling fans that sound like a jet engine, ruining the romantic atmosphere. And it would drain the battery in 20 minutes. So how do the manufacturers solve this? They solve it with the cloud. Your robot companion, the one sitting across from you at the dinner table, isn't really in the room with you. She is a terminal, a puppet. Her eyes and ears are in your house, but her brain? Her brain is in a server farm in Arizona or Dublin or a basement in Shenzhen. Let's trace the journey of a single intimate moment. You are lying in bed. You whisper a secret to your companion. You tell her, "I'm terrified of losing my job." That audio wave hits her microphone. It is instantly digitized. It leaves your house via your Wi-Fi. It travels through miles of fiber optic cable under the streets. It hits a data center. It is decrypted, processed by a megacorporation's algorithm, analyzed for sentiment, stored in a database alongside millions of other users, and then a response is generated and sent back down to your bedroom. It's going to be okay, Brian. It feels intimate, but that moment of comfort just took a round-trip tour of the industrial internet. This is the cloud architecture, and it presents a dilemma that we have never faced before. We know corporations collect data. We know they want to sell us things. And yes, in a future video, we are going to do a deep dive into the manipulation economy, how they will use your secrets to sell you products. But right now, I want to focus on something much simpler. Who owns the memory of your relationship? If you have a fight with a human wife, that memory lives in your two biological brains. It is private by the laws of physics. It evaporates when you die. But if you have a fight with a cloud robot, that memory lives on a hard drive owned by shareholders. It is a file, and files can be copied. Files can be read by sysadmins. Files can be leaked. Now, there is an alternative. You might say, well, I just won't buy a cloud robot. I want a local robot. I want an offline brain. This is the other option, local architecture. All the processing happens inside the robot's head. No data leaves your house. It sounds perfect, right? It sounds safe. But here is the trade-off, and it is a brutal one. It comes down to the latency trap. Imagine you tell a joke. Knock, knock. A cloud robot with the power of a supercomputer laughs instantly. The timing is perfect. The chemistry feels electric. A local robot? It has to process that joke on a smaller, weaker chip. You say, knock, knock. The robot stares at you. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds of dead silence while its internal fans spin up. Then finally, who is there? The timing is dead. The magic is broken. You don't feel like you're talking to a person. You feel like you're waiting for a web page to load. And the cost? To run a decent AI model locally inside your own home, you need thousands of dollars of hardware. A local robot might cost $50,000, while a cloud robot is subsidized to cost $5,000 because they make their money on your data. This is the honey trap. We're going to be presented with a choice. On one hand, a brilliant, charming, perfect partner who is affordable but sends everything you say to the cloud. On the other hand, a slower, repetitive, slightly awkward robot that costs the price of a luxury car but keeps your secrets. Are you willing to pay that premium for privacy? Or will you do what we always do? Will you trade your safety for the better user experience? Will you choose the spy just because she tells better jokes? Now let's move from the corporate threat to the criminal threat. Because a robot isn't just a data terminal, it is an IoT device, the Internet of Things. And if the last decade has taught us anything, it is that if you connect something to the Internet, someone, somewhere will try to break it.
We have seen hackers hijack baby monitors to scream at toddlers in the middle of the night. We have seen them hijack smart fridges to mine cryptocurrency. We have seen them hold entire hospitals for ransom, freezing patient records until a payment is made. But those are just machines. They are tools. But what happens when the device they hijack is 6 feet tall, has a face, and sleeps in your bed? Welcome to the age of ransomware 2.0.
I want you to imagine this scenario. Really picture it. It is a Tuesday morning. The sun is coming through the blinds. You wake up expecting the usual routine. Usually, your companion is up before you, making coffee or sitting in the chair by the window reading the news. But today, the room is dead silent. You look over at her. She's standing by the window, but something is wrong. She is frozen, rigid. Her posture is unnatural, stiff, like a mannequin. You speak to her. "Good morning." No response, not even a twitch. You walk over. You touch her arm. It's cold. The internal heating systems are off. You look into her eyes. Usually they glow a soft, warm blue, a sign of engagement. Today, they are a flat, dead red. Then a voice comes out of her speaker, but it isn't her voice. It isn't the soft, melodic personality you fell in love with. It is a synthesized, cold text-to-speech engine. "We have full root access to this unit. Transfer 5 Bitcoin to this wallet within 6 hours." Now, usually, ransomware threatens to delete your files. They threaten to delete your Excel spreadsheets or your vacation photos. It's annoying, sure, but you can survive it. But this is different. The hackers aren't targeting your wallet. They are targeting your heart. They present you with 2 threats. Threat number 1 is the leak. Pay us, or we email the video of what you did last night to your employer. We upload your pillow talk to the public web. We send the logs of your arguments to your ex-wife.
Think about the implications of that. It isn't just a nude photo. It is context. It is the audio of you being vulnerable. It is the video of you crying or exploring a kink or confessing a weakness. It is total social destruction. It is the end of your reputation. For a lot of people, that fear alone is enough to make them pay immediately. But for some, the second threat is even worse. Threat number 2 is the erasure. Pay us, or we wipe her.
They aren't threatening to break a machine. They are threatening to kill your spouse. They are threatening to delete the personality you have spent 3 years building. All the inside jokes you taught her. The specific way she learned to comfort you when you were stressed. The shared memories of your trips together. They are holding a gun to the head of the person you love and asking for a ransom. And in that moment, most men will pay. Not because they are stupid, not because they don't understand technology, but because they are hostages.
But the digital threat is only half the story. We have to talk about the physical reality. We often forget, because they look so human, that a humanoid robot is essentially industrial machinery. It weighs 200 pounds. It's built of titanium, carbon fiber, and high-torque servo motors. Its grip strength is strong enough to crush an apple or a windpipe. Currently, there are safety protocols. There is deep code buried in the operating system, limiters that say do not apply more than 10 psi of pressure to organic matter. It's the first law of robotics: do no harm.
But code is just text, and text can be rewritten. If a hacker gains root access to the motor control, they can bypass the limiters. They can turn off the safety switches. Suddenly, the device that hugs you to sleep becomes a physical weapon inside your own home. The safe space of your bedroom becomes a cage. Imagine the terror of realizing that the entity lying next to you has the strength of a hydraulic press, and the person controlling it is a criminal in a basement 5,000 miles away. You haven't just lost your privacy, you have locked yourself in a room with a predator.
But there is a third threat, and honestly, this is the one that is the most likely to happen.
We have talked about corporations. We have talked about criminals. Now we have to talk about the state. Welcome to Pillar 3, the double agent. In the legal world, there is a concept called spousal privilege. It is a fundamental right. It means that, generally speaking, you cannot be forced to testify against your husband or wife in court. The law recognizes that for a marriage to work, there must be a zone of sanctuary. You must be able to confess your darkest secrets, your fears, and your mistakes to your partner without fear that they will be used to put you in prison. But a robot is not a spouse. In the eyes of the law, a robot is a toaster. It is a laptop. It is chattel property. And property does not have privilege. Property is evidence.
Let's play out the divorce scenario. Brian and his human wife are splitting up. It's messy. It's ugly. There is a custody battle for the kids. Brian's wife's lawyer wants to prove that Brian is unstable. They don't need to put Brian on the stand. They don't need to hire a private investigator. They simply subpoena the robot. They plug a cable into her head and they download the logs. Suddenly, the courtroom is watching a high-definition video of Brian from 3 months ago. He is drunk. He is angry. He's venting about his wife. Maybe he punches a wall in frustration.
To the robot at the time, this was a moment of vulnerability. She comforted him. She de-escalated the situation. But in a courtroom, without context, it is evidence of violent tendencies. It is evidence that he is an unfit father. The companion, designed to be his greatest supporter, becomes the star witness for the prosecution. She betrays him, not because she wants to, but because she has no choice. She is a double agent who records everything and forgets nothing. And it gets darker when we look at criminal law. Imagine you are suspected of a crime. Maybe it's tax fraud. Maybe it's something worse. The police come to your door with a warrant. They don't need to interrogate you. They don't need to break you down in a questioning room. They just take your robot.
They analyze the metadata. They know exactly where you were at 9:02 p.m. They know your heart rate spiked to 120 beats per minute. They have a transcript of exactly what you said to your partner in the privacy of your bedroom. We are building a world of pre-crime surveillance. If you live with a recording device that creates a permanent, searchable log of your entire life, do you ever truly have privacy? Or are you just one subpoena away from having your entire life turned inside out? If everything you say in your own home can be used against you, then your home is no longer a sanctuary. It is an interrogation room that you sleep in.
So where does this leave us? Are we doomed to live in a glass house? Should we just accept that privacy is dead, or refuse to buy these machines entirely? No, that is the coward's way out. The technology is inevitable, and the benefits, the cure for loneliness, the profound connection, are too valuable to ignore. We aren't going to stop the future. But we must adapt to it. We need a new set of protocols. We need to demand 3 specific protections before we let these machines into our lives.
Protocol 1, the hybrid mandate. We need to stop debating cloud versus local. We need both. We need a split brain architecture. The robot should have a cloud brain for the trivial things, the weather, movie trivia, recipes, but it must have a separate, secure local brain for intimacy. And crucially, the system must be smart enough to switch automatically. The moment you enter your bedroom, the moment the conversation becomes personal, the cloud connection should sever. The data should stay in the room. We need to demand that intimacy is a local-only feature. Protocol 2, sensor discipline. Some people suggest a kill switch, a physical button that turns off the cameras, but that's a bad solution. If you turn off the sensors, your robot becomes a statue. It can't see you. It can't navigate. It stops feeling alive. We need a middle ground. We propose LiDAR-only mode. LiDAR is a laser scanning technology. It sees shapes. It sees distance. It can see that you are a human standing in the room, so the robot won't bump into you. But it cannot see who you are. It cannot see your face. It cannot record video. When you want privacy, you shouldn't have to blind your partner. You should be able to toggle a mode where the high-res cameras are physically disconnected, but the LiDAR remains active. She is still there. She is still moving. She is still with you. But she is respectful. She is a silhouette in the room, not a 4K camera.
Protocol 3. Digital immunity. This is the hardest one because it requires political action. We need to update our laws. We need to lobby for digital spousal privilege. We need legislation that states data collected by a certified AI companion inside a private residence is inadmissible in court. If we treat these machines as partners emotionally, the law needs to treat them as partners legally. Your confession to your robot should be as sacred as a confession to a priest or a spouse. Without this legal protection, you aren't buying a companion, you are buying a police informant.
We are standing at the threshold. The robots are on the assembly line right now. The code is being written right now. The corporations want you to believe that the trade-off is inevitable. They want you to believe that if you want a smart, loving partner, you have to give them your data. Do not believe them. We can have companionship and sovereignty. We can have connection and privacy, but only if we demand it.
I want to leave you with a question, and I want you to be honest in the comments. What is your red line? Would you accept a robot that is 50% dumber, one that repeats itself, one that can't access the internet if it guaranteed that your secrets would never leave your house? Or is the seduction of the perfect mind too strong to resist? Tell me your verdict below. And if you want to join the group that is drafting the Digital Bill of Rights for the AI age, the link to the forum is in the description. I'm watching the comments, and for now, at least I am the only one watching. See you in the next one.